Yes, guys, I'm Sahi. Welcome to the breakdown. Welcome to Cardiff City World. All things Cardiff City, 7 days, a week. I apologise for being a little bit late there. Had some issues to address, but it's all good. It's all ready. We're all good to go. And yeah, international break is not fun, especially when there's not a competitive Welsh game. So, like, obviously, you've had the one competitive game, and then now with a friendly, just kind of want it to be over. Like, in one way, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those squad players and the younger players in the Welsh squad maybe get an opportunity. But, like, there's two ways to look at it, really, because, like, Joel Colwell and Dylan Lawler, I would expect to get some sort of time on Tuesday. But actually, the under-21s have got really important games. So, like, Charlie Crew, Joel Colwell, Dylan Lawler, could they be better used in the 21s? And as a Cardiff fan, I'd kind of rather Lawler and Joel Colwell not play at all. Like, let's not get them injured in a meaningless friendly. But there we go. It's selfish, isn't it? I'm sure they want to represent their countries, etc. So it kind of is what it is. But what I wanted to do really tonight, because there's not loads to discuss really in terms of news and stuff like that, is I wanted to have a look at or discuss Brian Barry Murphy's era so far, assess maybe what impacts he's had on and off the pitch. You know, was he done good? Has he done anything bad? Has it all gone to plan? I think so, but like, I'm sure we can find a negative in there somewhere. And look, it's going to be a long, hard season, and this is the first bit up to the first international break. That's the first section, if you like, of the season. Let's just move that slightly. There we go. It's a bit better. So we're going to have a discussion about that. And I'm interested in what you guys think. Like, how do you think, or what have your opinion been of Brian Barry Murphy? Because there were some people who were very unsure about his appointment. They didn't think he had the experience. They didn't know who he was. You know, there was a range of comments. We saw a lot of them, really. Now, you know, I can sort of say, like, I was quite happy with the appointment. Well, I was very happy with the appointment. And then he was someone who I had called to be involved at Cardiff months before. But there was always, like, there's ultimately a risk whenever you bring in someone who's relatively inexperienced. However, not that I'm one to give Cardiff City's board and owner a great deal of credit. I think you do have to give them credit for what they've done over the summer, eventually. Well, by hook or crook, and they took their time with a manager thing and of course, all of that. But I think what they've done is they've given him carte blanche over the squad. They cleared the way of people who weren't going to fit his style of doing things and his way of doing things, who didn't fit his profile of player ID and stuff like that. Because the easy thing to do is retain a lot of those players, because I'm sure Mailto, Rawls, etc. would all think in themselves as professional footballers that they're all more than good enough for League One. However, none of them really suit the way that Cardiff City are playing this year. None of them really suit this manager. And I think the club had big decisions to make, and they made them, and they did them well. Then they've given him carte blanche to pick the side and go with the youngsters and really only bring in who he wants, not just give him players for the sake of it. And I think for a board who has got so much wrong over the years, you got to give him a bit of credit for getting it right so far. And look, there's a long way to go. This season can still go belly up, of course, we know this, but it was fascinating to see some of the results yesterday. You know, Plymouth, who I think were the best football inside we've played, even though we beat them so heavily, like 4-0. I thought they were the best football inside. I thought you could see what they were trying to do, and you could see that once they get a bit of momentum and a bit of belief, I could see them going up the table, and I could see them. I quite like Tom Cleverley as a manager, so I could see that working long term for them. But I think it's going to take them time to get there. But ultimately, like, it's not just that our young players and nice football. For me, what I like is the standards. What he expects day in, day out. And if you don't meet those standards, whether that be in training or in the game, then you aren't guaranteed a spot in the next 11 or the next squad. And I like that because everything should be earned. It's a professional sport at the end of the day. It's competitive sport. It's not, you're not given things for taking part. It's, you got to do what you've got to do and you've got to earn it. And I think an example of that, and it's not to dig him out, it's just using it as a basic example. Callum Chambers was banned from the first game, so didn't feature. He comes in for a couple of games and he's poor, like really poor, not up to the standard in concentration, in application. But of course, being the club captain, and what we've seen, you know, all of last year and for the past few years, players who don't perform, they still get picked because of reputation or experience or whatever it may be. He's the captain, and you're thinking, oh, he's gonna retain his place, even though he's been really poor. And on top of him being poor, I think it's important to point out that Dylan Lawler and Will Fish have been very good. So they've rightly been the first choice centre backs. But there was a period early in the season where you were like, he's got a decision to make. And he made it. And that was so refreshing for me. I got to say, I was impressed by that. And I was happy to see that. Because the norm is, and not just at Cardiff, really, the norm is probably you keep the club captain in. You know, that's probably what happens. And it's not the right way to do things. Like, the right way to do things is you earn it. You're in there. Your 11 is based on form. Your squad is based on the best squad to go into the next game. And you don't want to see people just in there for reputation, if you like. So that was refreshing. And, you know, yes, it's early in the season, but we've already had some stiff tests. We thrashed Plymouth. You know, Rotherham are poor, fine. We beat Luton Town on their patch, and particularly in the first hour or so, completely dominated them and outplayed them. Then you've got, you know, Wimbledon away. I'm sure a lot of teams will come unstuck there. You have to ride your luck a little bit, but you get the result. And I think when you add everything up together, I'm not sure that Brian Barry Murphy could have done much more in terms of the points result, like the points sort of he's got, the way he's got the team playing already. And remember, it's still early days. You know, this team, you'd imagine the more they're coached by him and work with his team, they're going to understand what he wants more, and you'd expect them to get better, which is an exciting thought, because I haven't really been concerned in any of the games that we're going to lose the game. I think there was a period maybe at Wimbledon away, but even then I felt we looked dangerous enough. They just had a little bit of, you know, all teams have a little spell in a game. Port Vale. I thought we were not great in that game, but when you look back on it with hindsight, it's a decent point on the road. You know, some teams again will come unstuck away at Port Vale, I'm sure. Now, we didn't perform very well in that game, of course, and really, that's the only blot on his record. Other than that, he's got 100% record. Haven't conceded a goal from open play in league football. Haven't lost a game at home. Like, these are all important markers that we've set out early doors. And the longer you can keep the overall unbeaten run going, the better. The longer you can stay 100% record at home, the better, because teams will begin. I think teams will already be looking at us and not relishing coming to watch us whatsoever. I really believe that. I think they will have seen the start we've had and they'll be thinking, yeah, I don't want to go there. And I think that's big. That's psychological. Having the psychological edge before the game started is big. And we are going to play tough teams. I think Stockport's going to be one of the hardest games of the season. But a team that we just smashed off the park in Plymouth Argyle, beat them yesterday 4-2, which goes to show that the Championship, much like the Championship, League One is going to be a few surprise results knocking about. I don't mind that at all. Like I think that's great because it makes it all that exciting, more exciting for the fans, etc. But I also believe that it means, you know, from a Cardiff point of view, you've got to be switched on every game. Don't get overconfident with the good start because that's when you're going to get unstuck. You will become unstuck because this is a difficult league and there's still some really hard games and we're only, 8 games into it or something like that. So, like, don't get cocky. That's what I would hope that they've been doing. I know they've been doing a lot of physical work over the international break, which is encouraging in itself because it means they're not going to rest on their laurels. It means they're going to be pressing even higher and working even harder because they're going to have done a lot of fitness and strength work. It's exciting to see because these players, like, they have not disappointed. There's not many players who I look at overall of this season who haven't turned up, really. Like, most of the players have had moments. Most of the players have had good games consistently. And that's the thing, is the consistency. And I think, you know, Chris Willock has looked consistent for the first time in his Cardiff City career. He's been consistent in the way he's performed. Ruben Colwell, consistent. Joel Colwell, consistent. Di Turnbull before his injury, consistent. And I think that's ultimately is all you can do, is try to be as consistent as possible and work for the results, you know? So it's exciting to see. But tell you what, I'll put it to you guys. Is there anything you're concerned about? Is there anything that you're looking at and you think we need to be a bit better in that area, or we need to be a bit better in here, or that's looked a bit sloppy? So for me, one thing I do think, and it sounds strange because we won 4-0 in our most recent game, I actually think we need to be a bit more clinical because I think we're creating the chances. However, I think there's been a few games, even the Plymouth game, that Plymouth game should have probably been at least 6-0 in the end because we had some big chances in the second half that should have been taken. And in a tight game, if you don't take your chances, that is when you get unstuck. That is when a referee's decision trips you up. So it's a fascinating one for sure, right? I've been very impressed with the manager, I've got to say, the way he's conducted himself, the way he talks to the players during games, the way he gets his message across. There's very little screaming and shouting. He seems to be a quite calm, collected, composed guy. And that is something that will rub off on players ultimately. And it's a very exciting time, you know. But let's have a look at some of the comments for sure. Jumpers for Goalposts, welcome, mate. Says, Brian Barry Murphy's brand of football and belief in our youngsters is something that every League One club can only dream about. 3 quality signings ready to go. Analysis, stats through the roof, wherever you look. So excited. Steve, 420, evening. Craving some Bluebird action, yeah, mate. Aren't we all? Chris, evening. Steve, international breakitis. Gav, Paul, lots of people in the chat. It's 0-0 and it's currently Belgium versus Kazakhstan 0-0, says Gav. Half-time, almost half-time. Ryan says I should be a doctor. Yeah. Lewis says, I join you from 40,000 feet in the air, 2 hours away from Florida. Can't wait for City to be back and bring these new players in. My oldest son is in Florida at the moment. Coincidence, isn't it? Vlad says, evening, Simon. BBM has hit the ground running and it looks like we finally have a coach and staff who are elite. Yeah, but you've also got to back them, haven't you? You've also got to leave them to do the job and believe in them. And I think sometimes owners and boards and executives, they can interfere a little bit, not by maybe they're not even intending to, but just because they hear like a manager's plans and stuff, and maybe it's like that seems a bit outlandish to play all these youngsters or this. And I just think ultimately they've got to be brave and had to be brave and allow him and appoint him and allow him to do his job. And I think they've done that. And I think as long as they continue to do that, it'll be exciting times. Paul says, whatever we think, Si, there's always a group that dislikes something. BBM has done amazing up to now. Wish the board back him in the future, especially if we get back to the championship. Yeah, just got to get there first, mate. And it's early days, but I agree with you, mate. This exciting. Ryan says the main core of the senior players who were released with a problem, bad habits, not good enough. BBM brought fresh ideas and allowing players to play with freedom and a smile on their faces. I don't disagree with that whatsoever, mate. And that was actually something that I kind of harped on a little bit last year. Like, there was a lot of issues with certain players, and they've been going on for years. And it's just like, Jesus. So that was needed, was the fresh, just clear out of that dressing room. We said it in the summer, needed new voices in the dressing room. And you've got now people like Ruben Colwell and Ryan Wintle. You've got different voices in there. Will Fish, Joel Bagan, like different leaders who will bring different voices, different ideas, and a different way of doing things. I like it a lot. Jeff says BBM starting to get interested in the Irish news now. No surprise, mate. And I think the longer we go undefeated, the longer we have 100% home record, that sort of excitement, if you like, and the news, and that it'll build and it'll go like bigger and bigger the longer it goes ultimately, and the pressure will grow, won't it? Vlad says Bradford and Stockport looked very exposed yesterday. If we can get results against those two, we'll look like serious contenders. Yeah, so I had said a few weeks ago that if we took points, if we could beat Plymouth and Luton, that would send a bit of a message. To go and beat Luton at their place and then wipe the floor with Plymouth, I think really sent a message. If you follow that up with wins against Bradford and Stockport, but ultimately it is the performance, isn't it? You know. Martin says the BBM appointment was ideal for the football club. His beliefs and ethos blended with those of the young graduates of the academy. The football he wanted was congruent with the philosophy they had. Yeah, and I think ultimately as well, it's like a perfect storm, isn't it? We needed a manager who fully believed in young players and has the confidence in his own coaching ability to play the young players in the first team, because so many experienced managers don't have the balls to do it. And they'll do it at the end of the season when nothing matters. They'll give a couple of players a go and they'll be like, oh, I brought them through. But like, it takes real balls to go opening game of the season, 7, 8, 9 academy graduates, half of which have never played first team football, in your squad and give them serious minutes. Like, to me, that is balls. And it's belief in his own ability as much as it is their ability. And that's what I mean about a perfect storm. We have this group of youngsters who've come through. They're all ready for first team football. Some of them are exceptional. Some of them are very good. You needed a manager to match that, who was going to play them and improve them and bring them through as a group. But we've also got another group coming through after that. And if we can hold on to this manager and he can keep implementing his ideas and his ideas keep working, you know, you could build a bloody dynasty. But dynasties don't get built in football anymore. And it's important to say that. I mean, when was the last time a manager stayed at any football club for 10 years? So maybe much like some of these players, enjoy Brian Byron Murphy while you can. I was speaking to a friend of mine, the other day, and like Dylan Lawler, you just got to enjoy him while you can, because ultimately, unless we do back-to-back promotions, he's probably going in a couple of years or a year or so. He's too good. Don't want him to, but it's just a fact. It's the way football is, isn't it? Jeff says BBM cleverly let the players vote for the captain, not his man. 100%, mate. I think and that was something that slipped under the radar, and maybe we didn't cotton on initially, but it's beautifully done, isn't it? Because he's not his captain, in that he picked him, it's much easier to drop him or not select him. Much easier, because it's not your guy. If he had picked him and said, "You're my captain," and then 2 weeks later is dropping him, it's a bit of an issue, isn't it? Very clever. Very, very clever. And I think that's one of the things that really went under the radar. Vlad said, Simon, last season, our three best players were Chambers, Robbo, and Robertson. If you told me all three would struggle to get in our League One side, I wouldn't believe it. Yes. Yeah. I mean, Chambers was good in midfield. Terrible at centre-back, but good in central midfield. And it's mad, isn't it, that he's not even getting a look in the midfield. But he was good in midfield. Robertson, I feel like first half of the season, he was very, very good. And he never recovered from the injury. And I felt sorry for him because he rushed back from his injury, played against Hull at home when he absolutely was nowhere near ready. But he did it for the team. He did it because we were struggling and we needed him. And he never got back up to where he was. And it was purely because he was rushed back. Same as Tanner. He never, ever got up to where Tanner last season never got to a level where he was even match fit. And I felt it was a bit embarrassing playing him from the start of games. And I felt sorry for him. And I felt embarrassed that we were picking him. But manager picks the team, I suppose. But I agree with you. Like, if you'd said, like, those three would struggle to get in the first 11, you probably wouldn't have believed it, like, in League One. But it is what it is. Martin doesn't necessarily agree that Chambers was one of our best players. He says Robertson promised but didn't deliver. I thought Robertson was good for the first half of the season. Halftime Oranges says, question. Obviously, we will inevitably lose at some point this season. But do you think we will get spanked at any point this season, or are we too good? So it's difficult not to get caught up in it, right? But so far, and I'm going to be very careful to say, so far, we have looked levels above the opposition, I think. Even Luton, for an hour, they could not get near us. And I think, ultimately, if we're able to maintain that kind of level of performance, I don't think we'll get spanked. But it is, like, you just never know, mate. Like, football on any given day can go kind of... you say we'll inevitably lose. Maybe we're going to be the first team to just go the whole season. We're just going to win every game, never concede a goal from open play again, and we're just going to break records. No, and you know, the big thing will be as well is when we inevitably do lose at some point, is how the young players react then. Do they have a bit of a dip, confidence, belief? They're all important parts of football, momentum. So we got to ride the momentum now. And then when you do have that break in the momentum and you do lose, how they react. Maybe that's when you see the likes of Chambers and Osho and Robertson, Robinson, they come in then to steady the ship. Maybe, I don't know. Be interesting, won't it? Whether he sticks with the young lads there or whether when they have a bit of a wobble, that's when your Chambers and your Osho and your people come in and or does he stick with that? What's tried and tested earlier in the season? I guess it's interesting. So Martin says, if we face a physical team that bullies us and we have a weak referee, this young team might find it difficult. So a couple of things on that. Like, I don't necessarily disagree, but after the Port Vale game, a couple of teams tried to physically bully us and failed. Swindon tried to do it. Failed. Wimbledon tried to do it. Failed. The referees are going to cost us at some point. They're so bad that they will cost us at some point. But I do feel since the Port Vale side game, we've dealt with the physical side a lot better. I also think having Osho in the team will really help with the physical side. He's also experienced and he's a leader. And I think as much as I don't want to break up that Fish and Lawler partnership, I don't think it'll be too long before we see Osho in the centre-back pairing, because I do think he is a proper leader, and I think that's something that we've lacked for a long time. Andy says, welcome, mate, by the way. He says, at Port Vale, I felt that what killed us was poor passing. We spilled the ball easily, passed behind advancing players, and all that took the sting out of the attack. The passing has been vastly better since. Yep. And that's probably the one game where our passing hasn't been crisp and proper. It's the first away game of the season, maybe. First away trip for some of these young lads. And there was a bit of pressure on that first away game because our away form was so bad last year that it was almost like, is it going to carry on, or are we going to click out of it? Are we going to get the early win and forget about it? So I like it. Gavin says Birmingham lost 3 league games all season last year and they won League One. We'd love to beat that. League One Invincibles with a total points record, says Jumper for Goalpost. Yeah. Heard it here first. Come on. I'm here for that. Not having to do a podcast once all season on a Sunday where we've lost a game of football. Come on. Phil, yes, mate, says the thing is, like, if you play bad and pick up points away from home, that's a sign of a good side. If you can't win, don't lose. 100%, mate. It's what all the best teams are built on. Gavin says, I've been saying side from the first game, I'm going for 10 wins at home on the bounce, like the Malky season in the Championship. Oh, mate, I would love that. And it is difficult not to get carried away, like, because we've been so good. But the international break just came at a bad time for us, I think. We had so much momentum, so much belief. Lewis says, if we get Salic and Robbo scoring, it's going to be very hard for teams then. Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? That, like, our 2 sort of big money strikers, if you like, in terms of sales, haven't really scored. I think they got 1 between them. Mad, isn't it? But they'll come good. I think Salic has been really good in recent games, like, without scoring. It's mad, doing it. Like, it's difficult not to get caught up in it. Because the performance, it's not just that we've been winning. Like, in the Malky season, we must have had, like, some sort of record for 1-0s and 2-1s. Like, it was quite dour at times, the performances. And we won games where we weren't very good. But so far this season, we've been very good. And you'd like to think it's going to get worse, like it's going to get better, if that makes sense. But we'll see it. And then Welsh Kyle says the same thing up front. We need our strikers to find form. I think it'll come. I think putting some balls in the box from the wide areas. We work nice positions from wide areas, and then we try and pass it. I'd like to see us get into those wide areas and whip the ball in for Salic, because we all know he'll get on the end of it. So I'd like to see that. Martin says we possibly need to score some more goals away from home. We've created chances, but find it difficult to convert them. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I said it about, like, we just need to be clinical with the chances, because those tight games, that'll be the difference. Gav says, well said, Martin. We've only scored 2 goals away from home compared to 9 at home. And yeah, like, you're always going to score more away at home, aren't you? But, like, I agree, you just need to be clinical. But Martin also says the good thing is our defensive record is incredible. Jumpers for Goalpost says complacency is not in BBM's coaching manual. You'd like to think so. I think he'd been working on that all through the international break. Phil says, I think we should be shooting a goal more often, playing too much on times when we could be more direct. But at the minute, it looks good. Yeah, I think I thought we got a bit better on that side of things in the last 2 games. But I agree, around the Wimbledon game, we were overplaying a little bit. But, yeah, I think Ruben likes a shot in it. So just give it to him on the edge of the box. Yes, Geraint, you're right, mate. Jeff and Martin saying Belgium have scored a couple. Oh, that's a shame. Paul says clinical when we're on top of teams. Like when we go in at halftime, it's 0-0. We have 70% possession. Yes, we're creating chances, but we're not making the final pass or the final ball. I agree with that. Alex says, where do you think Amari Kellyman plays? He said he plays through the middle, but no chance he benches Ruben. He'll play wide, mate. I think he'll come on for Ashford or Willock. I don't think he'll start anyway at the moment. I don't think he'll be anywhere near fit. I just think he's had that injury. We've got to be careful with him as well. If we try and like start him for 90 minutes straight away, he's going to get a pull, and just we don't need to force him into the side. With the side is doing well, the side is functioning well as well. It's like just give him 10, 15 minutes to start off, let him find the pace, let him get into it. Don't think he's, from memory, I can't remember now because I've done so many videos, but I don't think he's played like lower league football. He's only played like development football and Premier League football. So let him find his feet. Let him get used to it. He's such a skillful player. It won't take him long, but you've got to manage his minutes and his fitness a bit like we've done with Isaac. And I think another thing which Brian Barry Murphy deserves credit for is the way he's managed Isaac Davis, because not only has he managed his minutes from an injury point of view, but he's given him just enough minutes to get assists, to get goals. And Isaac looks really sharp at the moment, like really sharp. And at some point, he'll unleash him from the start and he will fly. But at the moment, he's got giving him a taste, goal year, assist year, and he'll unleash him and he'll get his start and he'll get his goals from the start. But I'm impressed with it. Alex also says he thinks Osho comes straight in for Fish. To me, like I get what you mean. Like he's going to play, and at the end of the day, he's the big money signing. He's the 27-year-old experienced centre back. He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. He's good on the ball. The manager knows him. He's going to play. Just for me personally, I wouldn't be in a rush to break up Fish and Lawler at the moment, because I think partnerships are important. And there's no reason to drop either. Like Fish has been excellent. Fish's passing diagonals and stuff like that have been excellent. He looks really, really comfortable next to Dylan Lawler. Dylan Lawler looks comfortable on the left-hand side next to Fish. Why change it? Don't force it. There'll be a time and a place, but I have a feeling that Dylan might be on the bench next game after, and they'll kind of put it down to the traveling he did for the Kazakhstan game. I don't think it's needed, but also you don't want to burn Dylan out. Like he's a young lad. He's played a lot of football already this year. So again, it's about managing his minutes. But at least now you've got, like, my worry was that you had Lawler and Fish, and then next in was Chambers. And that was a worry because Chambers has been so bad at centre back. I wish in a way that BBM didn't mind him at midfield. But my worry is he'll try and find minutes for Chambers. And I don't mind Chambers coming on actually to see games out. I quite like that. And I also don't mind him coming on at right back. Really fascinated me that we put Pacquiao in midfield. Like tactically, I thought that was so interesting that he could have put Chambers into midfield, left Pacquiao where he was, and put Chambers in alongside Wintle. And he didn't. He put Chambers in the back and put Pacquiao into midfield. I thought that was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And Pacquiao did a good job. Steve says, the most worrying thing for me is that BBM does so well, other big clubs will come in for him, money talks. So I don't think, and I'm going to put my neck on the line, and I probably might end up looking stupid, but I don't think BBM would leave for a championship club, ultimately. I think if one of the Premier League clubs come in, it's slightly different. I just think he seems like a guy who's invested in the project. And when you're invested in something, it's very difficult to walk away, no matter how much money people throw at you. Like, it's on a different scale of things, but like, I've had a couple of offers of late, and the money was there, but like, I just not interested, like, at all. Like, and because I'm emotionally invested in in what I do at the moment and who I do it for. So yeah, it's a strange one. Like, it's different, isn't it? Like, it's football's football at the end of the day. And BBM maybe isn't got that connection to Cardiff, but I absolutely think he's emotionally invested in Cardiff City and the project that he's begun. And I just don't see him wanting to go anywhere unless it was to a like a once in a lifetime job. But I don't know. Do I? Like, nobody knows. At the end of the day, it's a personal decision for people. You don't know what's going on at home. You don't know what their situation is and whatever, like homesick, blah, blah, blah. So you'd have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, it is, of course, a worry. The better he does, the more clubs will be circling him. That's why we've got to get out of League One in it straight away. Jeff says at Port Vale, the dark arts we used, balls were softer, inflated, within the limits, but softer. Yeah, they got to get that, though, wouldn't you? Going to get that. Paul says Kellyman will come on as a sub with Willock playing about an hour, 70 minutes. Martin says Fish has been outstanding. He's also the most physical of our defenders. Agree. Andy says Kellyman, Colwell, Willock can play across the pitch. I wouldn't be surprised to see him interchange a lot. Yeah, Willock and Ruben interchanged a lot against Plymouth in the second half, and Ruben was on the left. Willock was in the middle. Yeah, it was good. Good to see. Welsh Kyle says, agree, Martin. It'd be unfair for him to lose his place because he's been class. Yep, I agree with that. About Will Fish, that is. Vlad says we could have half the Welsh squad in a year or two. Yeah, especially when you look at the 21s and the 18s, mate. It's full of Cardiff. Exciting times, mate. Exciting times. Gav says, watch the Stockport manager's post-match interview from the loss yesterday. He has lost the changing room. It's a mad one, right? He's a real good manager, is Challinor. Done a good job there. And yeah, like, I've only seen the quotes. I haven't seen it. Like, but he named players, didn't he? That he blamed and stuff, something like that. That type of interview, if it's as bad as what I've read, like, it only goes two ways. Like, one, you are done, or you get like the dressing room, like regenerated behind you because they're like, oh, yeah, he's right. There's no in between with an interview like that for me. Martin says the lack of opportunities for players like Bagan, Joel, Isaac, and to an extent Ruben has been a disgrace. I don't know what that's in reference to because they played all season. But you can explain in a minute. Geraint says same with Capaccio. He's got Premier League written all over him. All of them have. That's the problem, isn't it? Don't sleep on Joel Bagan, by the way. Joel Bagan this season has been unreal. Whether you look at whether you're one for stats and data or whether you're one for the eye test or in between, like, been unreal this season. And he's one that people like to criticize and say he's a bit boring. He's been incredible from ground covered to passing to tackling, physicality, it all. He's been superb. Paul says any one of the 5 or 6 players can score at any time. I feel our forwards have to be more greedy and getting on the act. Salic works hard, but at times I think his confidence isn't there. Goal scorers, mate, isn't it? They score like they score one, they score lots. Just they get in their own head. And that's why I think the way he's managed Isaac Davis has been magnificent. Because Isaac's going to be disappointed to be on the bench. I particularly think Isaac could be the backup for Salic as well. I would much rather see Isaac be the backup number 9, but that's another story. But Isaac is coming on and contributing, scoring, assisting. So he's confident. So when he does come on, or when he will get his start, he's going to be raring to go and on fire. I thought it won't be long before he's back in the Wales squad either because Bellamy likes him. So be interesting, wouldn't it? Martin says Isaac could be the answer to become more clinical. He's a true goal scorer. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, mate. Vlad says the left back position maybe needed cover, but I trust Giles or Pacquiao if we need them to switch. The system and the philosophy that he's installed, even inexperienced players could come and do a job there. Yeah, and I think as well, I understand, and I had the same sort of concerns that people have had with Giles. Every game Giles played for the first team last year, he didn't let us down. He had a really difficult half in the first half against Villa and come back, and he was so good in the second half. And I also think the attacking side of his game is perfectly suited to this manager. And I hope he gets a chance at left back when Bagan does get a rest, because I think Giles might be the key to unlocking someone like Salic with his cross, because Louis Giles' delivery from crosses is unreal. I hope he gets an opportunity, but I have a feeling that when Bagan has a rest, it'll be Pacquiao or even NG, and I would rather see Giles in there and have a natural left back for the right games, of course. Reese Lasky says, I do find it interesting Davis hasn't had any minutes through the middle. Yeah, it is, especially because I'm pretty sure the manager said he sees him as a number 9 long term. People will jump on this and take it the wrong way. I actually think Isaac offers a bit more than Callum Robinson does. Cam Robinson, when he's on a scoring streak, is great. But he doesn't always offer that much when he's not scoring. Although I think this season under BBM, he's offered way more, like in possession. I just think Isaac gives you a bit more on the shoulder. His finishing, his pressing particularly is really good. And you'd like to see him through the middle. Mine says the referee between Stockport and Plymouth was absolutely shocking. Yeah, it's been the referees all season just been unreal. It's dive in and all sorts of it. It was terrible. I haven't seen a good referee yet. I can't believe the drop from Championship to League One in the refereeing standard is particularly worrying. Vlad says Salic will start notching soon. He must be frustrated. As we can see, BBM doesn't want any wasted balls. He's drilled it into everyone, and that's why we don't just launch from back into crosses. But we do work some good positions. And I saw the manager telling, who was it? Might have been Joel Colwell. He had worked a good position, and then instead of putting the ball into the box, he went back. And the manager was telling him after, put it in the box, whip it in. But they want it with direction, don't they? Reese says, who's on penalty duties, guys? Is Salic and Ruben both starts? Does run and let the strikers take it, or captains step up? They'll have a list of penalty takers. They'll have 2 or 3, depending on who's on the pitch. But could be anyone. Wintel's taken penalties before in his career. Ruben has been on a lot of set pieces. Bagan has taken a lot of the corners. Could be anyone. Reese says, to be fair, Bagan put a lovely ball across the 6-yard box last game, and Salic was on his heels a little. Last year, he would have tapped that home. Just think he's taking the inevitable. Yeah, it's just belief. Strikers get in their own head, don't they? They just get in their own heads, and they struggle to get out of it. And then it takes one goal off their backside, whatever, just a scruffy goal, and then they're back at it. We've got 6 games in 18 days coming up. Certainly going to test us, but I feel we can win all 6. Wow. We will see some rotation, but not much, says Paul. Yeah, we got a good squad now. Even when we do rotate, I feel like we've got some real strong players. You look at our bench now, it's quite mad, like Kellyman and Osho and Chambers and Robinson and Robertson and some players there. And that's without Turnbull and Naikahawa, and Naikahawa I think has looked good as well. God, I need to shave my beard. I have my haircut next week before the cab thing, but need to get ice. I've run it a bit long this month. Wow, look at that grey. Woof. Getting old, my friends. Getting old. Right. Got any questions? Get them in before we wrap it up. But I am interested. Martin says, I think Salic has to adjust his style a little bit. He needs to hit the center of the goal. But do you know what? On Salic, I actually think part of the frustration for him is he's got very little protection from referees. He does get absolutely battered about, right? And then the second he touches someone, it's like a free kick, and you see the frustration on him. Like he just looks so like disheartened by it all. But I think his movement's pretty good. His link-up play is pretty good. Mafiko, by the way, yeah, on that. Vlad says, shout out to little Mafiko. He's going to be a star. Yeah, mate, I won't be shocked when Ryan Wintle needs a rest. If we just chuck him in the 6, I really like. I know a lot of people are expecting Alex Robertson to play 6. I don't disagree with that either. But I just think Mafiko, that performance against Cheltenham opened a few eyes, I think, to people, and he could be our Kante, like League One Kante, for years over the next couple of years. Championship Kante, quality footballer. Alex says, hi, Si, I've missed loads of lives. Yeah, welcome back, mate. Good to have you, as always. Get involved. I'm gonna go like about 50, 60 minutes tonight. I've not been very well this week, so my Crohn's has been real bad, actually. So the boys have been filling in. But I still churned out a few videos. If you didn't check out my Gabriel Osho video from earlier, do have a look at that. Although I did get one thing wrong. I said about he played against Mbappe. He hasn't. I got the seasons mixed up because it's the start of this season, and I was thinking it was last season. And anyway, someone pulled me up on it. I don't mind that. I got it wrong. But apart from that, it's a very good video. And I did one on Amari Kellyman as well the other day. So there's a few videos, shorter videos. Got one on Ninian Park coming. I want to know as well. So we've got these little like 10-minute stories effectively. So obviously not like loads and loads of detail where it goes on for like 30, 40 minutes, but just a kind of overview of these stories. So I've done 3 to start with. I've got Ninian Park, I've got the 1927 FA Cup, and I've got the South Wales Derby as a rivalry. And we'll see how they go down, see if people like them. And if they do, then of course there's loads of stories to tell. But that's an interesting one. Gab says, I could see BBM as the Ireland football manager the way he's going. Ireland have been dreadful, haven't they, for a few years now. So, I mean, sure they'll be looking at it. Reese is with a big shout, says, I can see him taking over from Pep at the end of 2027 when his contract's up, if he keeps on going the way he is. Well, I'll tell you something, mate. That might sound preposterous, but if we did back-to-back promotions, it suddenly becomes a lot more likely, doesn't it? Or a lot more feasible, possible, plausible. But yeah. Right, over the last few years for yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, it's criminal, mate, that Joe Bagan didn't get more playing time last year. Isaac Davis obviously had injuries, but Ruben, like, we should have built the side around Ruben about 2 seasons ago. Outrageous. Like, some managers, like, I don't get me wrong, I got a lot of respect for them to have got where they've got and blah blah, but like, they're so set in their ways and they're so stubborn and unflexible that they just, is unflexible a word? I'm not sure it is, but it is now. And they're not open to anything. They don't look at things. And I get it. It's such a high pressure job in any job in football. Like, you're a couple of losses away from getting sacked at all times. And I think it's really difficult. But like, for me, I'd like to see more managers utilize the young talent they've got and improve them. I'm not saying every team has to chuck 9 kids in. I'm just saying, like, I could almost guarantee that from League One to Premier League, they've all got like a couple of players in their 21s who potentially are that player for them. So use them, improve them, like do your job and coach. I just think it gets lost a little bit, you know. But there we go. It's nice to win football matches ultimately, isn't it? I forgot what that felt like to win like matches in a row. Paul says, what our youth have got is playing for Wales at high level, most championships. League One, League Two youth teams will not get that football for their development. True. Matthew Ashley, welcome, mate, says, do you think BBM will start Osho versus Stockport? He says, I hope not. I feel it would send the wrong message. But Big Balls Murphy has made all the right calls this season and made all the big calls this season and got them right. He has. I think I'm kind of torn, right? Because I think Osho is very good. He's a real good leader, and the Stockport game is going to be difficult, and I think it's going to be a big game for us. On the other side of that, I think Fish and Laura do not deserve to be split up. Neither of them deserves to be dropped. They've been our best defenders. They quality, blah, blah, blah. But on the flip side of that, again, I would like to, we have to look after Dylan Lawler a little bit. And if he plays 90 minutes for Wales on Tuesday, then I definitely think Osho will come in. I wouldn't, but I could see it. Maybe he brings Chambers in instead. But you are right. He's got a lot of the big calls right. Ryan says, Bagan's the longest serving player at his club. His attitude, his willingness to learn and improve, probably being our most consistent player so far. Yeah, you could see like he gets what a manager wants, like tactically. Matthew says, agree about Louis Giles, mate. Remember when he came on a couple of years ago? Reminds me of a young Trippier. Unbelievable crossing ability from deep. Yeah, it's when you get him in the overlap in behind the fullback and he whips that in with his left foot. I do think he'll come good in this team with this manager. I also thought he did quite well in the League Cup cameo he had the other day after not playing football for months. So I'm not worried about him. Bagan's going to play the majority of games. I would like to see us play Giles, but I think physically he's got a bit to go, but that's natural. Reese says, yeah, I also can't wait to see Giles given a chance. I also think Davis would play through the middle, but it's a case of keeping Salic and Robbo both happy. So Davis has got to go out wide. Yeah. And I dare say if Robinson or Salic pick up an injury at some point in the season, you might see Isaac through the middle there. You might even see Kellyman through the middle as well. So, yeah, it is what it is. Martin says, I think Giles has looked a little bit rushed in the last couple of games. He's played. His physicality needs to improve. I agree about the physicality. I think he's looked fine. I thought he was really good. Maybe not really good, but I thought he was good in his cup appearance recently. And I thought for the first team last year, I thought he was really good. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? He's got a bit to go physically. He says, I'm sure his time will come. Giles got a lot of quality. I think he'll suit the way we play as well. But Lewis says, any news on Alex Robertson, Di Turnbull side? I haven't heard anything about Turnbull. Alex, I think, is back in training, though, as far as I know. So I think he did have a little bit of a setback, but nothing too strenuous. I think he's expected back straight after the international break. So hopefully he'll be in the squad for Stockport. But I guess it is what it is. You can't pick everyone, and that is going to get hairy now, isn't it? Because you can't pick everyone. Nathan Trott. I'm going to do a video on Nathan Trott this week. I really looking forward to it as well. I think he's been what a signing. Martin says, I had the great honour of meeting Ernie Curtis, who played in the 1927 Cup final. Amazing, mate. Yes. Yes, Phil. It is a word. See? I got an A in English as well, by the way. Just saying. It's the only one I got. Yeah, school wasn't for me, but it should be for you if you're under 18. So this is interesting. Corey says Kellyman has to start. You can't bench a player of his quality. He just isn't fit, mate. And if you try and force it early doors, you'll end up with a player who's injured for 6 months. You've got to play him back to fitness, for me. If you don't, you're just asking for trouble. And we've done that before. And just, you don't need to force it because we're doing well. Like, you don't need to force him in. Give him 15, 20 minutes, let him get up to speed, let him get up to fitness, and then let him play. Yeah, maybe you give him like 45 minutes in the cup or an hour, maybe, if you got a push. Depends how far along he is, but I heard he's nowhere near match fit. Like, yeah, Ian says it makes a great point. Remember how Chelsea and United both scouted McKenna and Maresca when they got promoted? Oh yeah, they'll have a look, but if clubs are after him, it means we're going to be doing well, isn't it? So that's all the only way you could look at him. Ian says there's a picture I need to find of 10-year-old me with Andy Legg and Phil Dwyer when the supporters trust at the FA Cup trophy. Love that. Absolutely love it. Yeah, mate. I nearly started crying recording that video. It was emotional, mate. I got to say. Jumpers for Goalpost says, Ninian Park, my spiritual home. Don't start me. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I'm going to be fascinated by what kind of direction Brian Barry Murphy goes in with his selection over the next couple of games. Because Osho's come to play. Like, he hasn't signed a 4-year deal to sit on the bench. But as your man, as someone just said now, Brian Barry Murphy's got a big calls right so far. And it is a big call. Like, do you split the centre backs up who've done you so well to start the season? How do they react then to one of them being dropped? Do you get Kelly? How do you get Kellyman in? It's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. When Turnbull and Robertson are fit, as the sort of more senior players, do they come in for Joel Colwell? Like, to me, Joel Colwell's undroppable, but away from home, maybe you need a bit more control in possession, and then I could see Turnbull. I really feel like Alex has got to earn his spot back in the side, like, big time, like, for me, but maybe other people disagree. I don't know. It's it's very interesting because trying to work out which direction he'll go in, isn't it? He hasn't got many wrong yet. But it's also on the players how they react to being rotated, to being dropped. As I always say, and I said this about Ruben last week when all the Wales talk was going on and people were sort of slating or saying like he should be in a Wales squad and that. And I said, like, what he's got to do is he's got to go and make himself undeniable. He's got to go and be so good that if they leave him out, it's just embarrassing. Like there's just no reason for it. And some would say that there's already at that point, but I think at the moment, Bellamy probably has still got somewhat of an argument about consistency because it's only early doors. But, in 6 weeks' time at the next international break, if Ruben's just put in another 6 weeks of these type of performances and he doesn't pick him, questions got to be asked. Like, really got to be asked because he should have been in that squad. Like, there's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. Like, he should have been in that squad. Especially with players out as well. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And, like, I look at the midfield that we put out, or not necessarily that we put out, but the way it performed against Kazakhstan. And I thought that game was made for Joel Colwell in the second half. Like, I really did. And obviously he didn't get his opportunity, which is fine. He's young. It was his debut, etc. But I did think it was made for him in the second half. Now, what we shall see is come the next international break and when we have competitive games, will they go with that again? Will they, will he rely on his more experienced players? Will he get some of these? Isaac Davis is going to be knocking on the door at some point. So it'll be interesting to see who he selects. Kepakio, I thought, was unlucky to not get a start for Wales because I think Nico Williams is much better on the left than he is on the right for Wales. And ultimately, the right back slot for me is up for grabs at Wales international level because Connor Roberts is not it. And I don't know. I'm a big fan of what Bellamy's done with Wales, but I thought it was poor. I got to be honest. Like, I really thought it was quite poor to not select Ruben. But what can you do? Like, managers will always have their favourites. Managers will always have players they trust. And you've kind of got to just go with it. But interesting, right? Because to me, Liam Cullen is a poor man's Joel Colwell. Like, he does the same type of thing off the ball in terms of his running and his energy, but he's got nowhere near the ball playing ability, the ball carrying ability that Joel Colwell's got. And I don't believe that Bellamy can't see that. And I think that's probably why he mentioned him before he had called him up, because he knew that this guy's going to be in my squad next time around. I think both the Colwell brothers will be in the Welsh squad next time around. Unless they're injured or something goes wrong between now and then. Like, I think both of them will be in. I think they both suit the way that he wants to play. And I think they both give you something different in tight games. In my opinion, people might disagree. That's all right. All opinions welcome. Okay, last couple of questions before I go and have my tea. I'm bloody starving. What did you all have for tea tonight? I think I'm having gammon, Viking gammon with cheese and pineapple and tomatoes. Fucking get in. Liam Cullen is a poor man's Ollie Cooper. Huh. But we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the thing is. Let's have a look at some of these comments. Yeah, like for me, Fish has been that good. And I think him and Lawler together have been that good. I just don't want to see them split up. Yeah. Matthew says it's good to see Ruben finally dominating games. Always had bags and bags of ability, but the nerve never under the right manager to unlock it. Ability-wise, he's definitely up there with Ramsey. Let's see. Just needed the right manager, mate, and the right player, the right way of playing, the right people around him. Paul says, how many points would you be happy with, Si, with 5 games in this month? 25. 100% record, mate. No, I think we got a couple of tough games in there, innit? Like, really tough games. Like Stockport, even set aside yesterday's result. Although, maybe we're playing them. If they're falling apart and their managers calling out individuals and the rest of it, maybe we're going to play them at a good time. And I'll tell you something about sending a message. If we was to stick 4 on Stockport after sticking 4 on Plymouth and beating Luton away, that will send a message. Stockport away, Bradford away. Oof. Some big games in there, isn't there? Like, obviously, you've got a couple of cup games in there. The Exeter game, you got to play the squad players there. The Burnley game, I'm probably rotating a bit mixed. It's so difficult to say, mate, because at the moment I really fancy Cardiff to just win in the league all the time. I just look at it and I think, we'll beat them. So I find it difficult. I'd probably 15. be a good return, probably, wouldn't it? But we shall see. We shall see. Roast chicken dinner, Paula. Nice. Corey says, I'm hoping Joel Lawler Capaccio against Canada. This is only a friendly, but injury would be horrible. Yeah, I almost want him to just drop him out. I think they'll all play, though. So Ryan says he's not sure what Cullen's ever brought to the Wales team. I slightly disagree with that. Like, I think he's been pretty good for the Welsh team because his job is just to press. But Joel Colwell can do that, but he can actually do something with a ball when he gets it. That's my argument. But we'll save the Wales talk for now for tomorrow's Wales podcast. But Ian Dalglish had Domino's. I had one of them on Friday. It was freaking amazing. Jeff had homegrown tomato and courgette pasta. That sounds amazing as well. Stockport away. Score predictions from Si. 3-1 Cardiff, mate. I fancy us. So Ryan says, do we go with experience such as Chambers over Louis Giles when Bagan gets banned in the next couple of weeks? No. I actually think it'll be NG who will come in, or Capaccio will move over to the left. I would like to see a natural left footer in there. Mine says 2-2 against Stockport. Jumpers for goalpost says 3-1. That's the same as me. I think 3-1. Matthew said, I've been having discussions with my mate this evening, actually. Stick this squad and the BBM in the championship right now. Where do you think it finishes? Top 10? Easy. This manager, mate, is special. I tried to tell people 6 months before he was appointed, but I think people just thought I was talking out my ass. But he's a special guy, mate. The football IQ on him is insane. And I said at the time, and I say it again, if you give him the time and the backing, and not necessarily financial backing, but the backing to do what he wants to a certain degree, he can revolutionize your football club. And I think you're seeing that already. And that's all I said. I'm not saying like I was at this big crystal ball, but is what, isn't it? I also said Dylan Lawler was going to start on for Wales, by the way. No, I'm only playing. Corey says, when do you think our first loss will be? Do you think we won't, not including the cup games, our first loss will be in August 2026 in pre-season. That'll be the first time Brian Barry Murphy loses. No, I don't know, mate. Like, football's funny, innit? We've looked so dominant, but we could go and lose the next game to Stockport at their place, and it all feels a bit different. Like, it's just one of them things, isn't it? One thing I do have is a lot of faith in this manager and a lot of faith in this team. However, what you have to do is, we don't know how they're going to react when they do lose. And I think that's the test, isn't it? These young players, it's fine when you're winning and you've got a momentum. And I just think, you got to see how the young players react, because we've got so much momentum and belief that it's momentum's massive in football, because you get things that don't happen, So it is what it is. Yeah, a few of you like that. August 2026. Not even joking. Gonna win the league with the only blip on our record is going to be that Port Vale game, and we're going to be the odds, the probabilities say we're going to lose a game at some point. Let's just enjoy it while we can. That's what I say. Because I, for one, I got fed up of losing football matches last season. So we're not only are we winning football matches, but we're winning them in style. Right, guys, I've got to go pick my son up because, yet again, he's out and about. thank you so much for joining me. Really, really appreciate it. Please do go and check out that video which I dropped earlier with our show. Check out the video I did on Kellyman. You dropping comments and going to see those videos and stuff like that, like it all really, really helps with the algorithms on YouTube and stuff like that, and it pushes it out to other people who are maybe don't know about the channel. So after the video finishes, drop a comment on this video. You know, tell me what you think Stockport game's going to go. Do you think he's going to start Osho? Do you think Kellyman will get a start in the one of the cup games? Like, how would you do it? I love it. Enjoy yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow for the Cymru and Birth podcast with Harry. Very much looking forward to that. Take it easy, my friends. Keep the faith, and I'll see you in a bit.
Rascal Beats.
For your Caesar, Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar.